Welcome. You're listening to the Bump Podcast, a place for believers of the unexplained, monsters, and paranormal. I'm your host, Bo Kennedy. Join us as we go face to face with what goes bump in the night. I can do a shared screen and I'll pull up the photos as we talk, and
Cool.
You can describe stuff and just go from there. So Billy, if you want to introduce yourself, tell me about your experience, tell me everything, and I'll just let you take it away, man. I'll probably put my phone or my mic on mute. That way I don't interrupt you with anything until closer to the end. I'll pop in with some questions here and there.
Okay. We actually we had an incident the other night when we think it was him too again, and he took a bunch of our cats.
No.
Oh yeah, I know it was him. But it was the same growl that me and Bobo heard that night. That was growling behind our house.
Wow.
So, but I'll get into that in a little bit.
Okay. Well, yeah, go ahead and tell me your story. I know Sheena was involved in it too. I don't know if she's filling up to being on the show or not. I know she has a little mishap.
She won't be here. She had to run out.
Okay.
I had her drop me off so we could get this. We've been trying to do this for so long.
I know, right?
I was going to do it today, regardless. So
I appreciate you, man. All right. Well, I'll shut up and let you get on with it.
All right. My name is Billy Humphrey. Actually, I'm a West Virginia coal miner, out of work, and got hurt, and that's how I come to get this picture. I was deer hunting. I threw some food out because on property here, you're allowed to throw deer bait out and stuff for your deer. And I was feeding them, and I always start this at the end of the summertime going into fall. I will start throwing, I'll take 50 pounds of apple corn out, throw it out. I'll put peanut butter out, try to bring bears in, all kinds of stuff. And the week that I got the picture, this stuff was disappearing so fast. And I knew the trail cams had been taking pictures of, I had a family of raccoons. Knew there was a bear up there, and, probably 15, 20 deer. But food that I was throwing out would last 3, 4, 5 days sometimes. And this stuff was disappearing overnight. So once a week, me and my wife, we go up on the hill, we take the truck up, and we load my blind with, for the whole week, we'll load up 5, 6, 50-pound bags of apple corn. We'll put peanut butter. That way I don't have to carry it up the hill each time. So we had just stocked the blind that night. And I told her, I said, you know what, I'm going to come back up and I'm going to try to knock off the raccoons that's up here, because there was like 7 or 8 of them we caught on trail cam. And I was like, maybe we can slow the food going down, because we was going through way too much. So I set up in the blind that night, and at the time they would be coming by on the trail cam, it was just eerie. There was nothing moving, no deer, nothing. It was just an eerie silence. And I actually texted her. We still got the text on our phone. We saved them. I texted her at night, and I was like, she was at work, and I said, something's wrong. I said, it's eerie up here. I said, there is something up here. And at this time, you got to think, now, I didn't believe in Bigfoot. I have never seen one, never believed. I wasn't even a skeptic. I just didn't believe in them. I'd been in the woods so long, I'd never seen them. So, but that night, after I got off with her, I heard it, and I texted her back. I said, there's something big up here. I said, I think we got another big bear coming. And you got to think, behind my blind, about 15 foot behind my blind and about 9 foot up on a pole, I had a mining light hung, and it was shining down at the food. So when the raccoons would come out, I had a crossbow. I was going to start knocking them off. But whatever it was intelligent, because it didn't come up the game trail like all the other ones. This thing went around my blind, well, about 25 yards from me, turned and started toward my blind. And you got to think, I don't even have my ground blind zipped. So my ground blind's opened in the back a foot. So whatever came behind my blind seen me, because when it got behind the blind, it stopped. And when I say it didn't make a sound, anybody can take his challenge. Go stand on dry leaves and limbs and stand there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes and not make a sound. It's impossible. But this did. And so after about 35 minutes, I was terrified, because if it was a bear, he had me. He was right there. I mean, there was nothing I couldn't have got out. And after a while, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, deer can sneak off. And I was like, I don't know how that thing walked off and me not hear it. And all I did was adjust in that bench. And when I adjusted, it creaked. And when it creaked, he started moving again. And as it walked behind my blind, I watched the silhouette of it block that light out as he walked by. So this is actually 3 nights before I got the picture, or 3 days. The very next day, I was up there, and my wife killed a bear. We went up the next day. She was off. She ended up killing about a 600-pound bear. And where I got the picture of her holding the bear, Bigfoot 2 days later, 48 hours later, almost to the dot, would have been standing in the tree behind her, standing behind her. So I gutted that bear right there, and I don't know if maybe that brought it in. Just leaving, where I gutted, I just left it right there for the animals. So the day of, me and her walked up on the hill. We took some more food up, and I told her, I said, you ain't got nothing to do. Let's just sit up here and see if maybe that was a bear that I had seen. Maybe it's what I heard. And so we got in the blind, and she's always told me she's seen them there before. She's been on this property since she was young, since she was like 13. She's lived on here, and kept telling me that they're real. And I told her she was crazy. I said, you're seeing bear. I said, a bear can stand up and walk. And actually at that point, when that walked by my the light, I still thought it was a bear, because a bear will stand up, and where I was downwind from him, I thought maybe he smelled the peanut butter and stood up because of the light. They're smart. So that's what I thought it was. We had just got inside the ground blind. I didn't have a crossbow, didn't have nothing. We were just watching to see what it was. She's sitting on this. She's sitting to my right. I'm sitting right here. I'm adjusting, and I'm still adjusting everything. I got my black rack. I'm getting everything, because when we got in, I was hitting stuff and making sounds. So being the hunter I am, I'm OCD. I had to get everything fixed right. And we wasn't in there 20 minutes, and she reached over and she grabbed this arm. And I was like, what? I'm not looking. She's like, oh my God, there he is. And I'm still doing, I was like, who? She said, I swear to God, look, it's Bigfoot. I hate to cuss or whatever, but I was like, there ain't no damn Bigfoot. I'm still not looking up. I'm still doing, I was like, quit playing. She said, honey, I swear to God, look. And when I raised up about 35, 40 yards, this thing, massive. And under his eyes, I looked eye to eye with it. And the crazy thing is he had blonde under his eyes. That's what zeroed me in on his face. He had a massive cone head, but just right here, he had this blonde. And when people ask me, not even being a skeptic, I told them, I said, it's one thing to see it. It's another thing to see it walk off. That's when it comes beyond surreal, to see this thing walk off. And when he turned, when I took the picture, you see his arm out to the side. He's already turning to walk off. When he seen me pull the phone up, as I'm pulling the phone up, he sees me, he starts to turn. And because we wasn't moving, when I raised up, I stood stiff. She wasn't moving at all. So I think when I moved, he seen me. He knew definitely that I was in there, and that's why he turned to walk off. But when he turned, his back from shoulder to shoulder looked like as wide as the tailgate of a truck. It was massive. I'd never seen nothing this big. And he went from standing erect, looking at us, to where when he turned, and as he walked off, he kind of, if you've ever watched a silverback gorilla, how they when they walk, they can almost go like they can go to all fours and run. He slumped over like an old man and was swinging his arms as he walked off, almost like if he needed to, he could go to all fours. It was the craziest thing I ever seen. But it didn't walk like any other video. The videos you see on YouTube, they're crap. They're garbage. The only thing video that I've ever seen that comes close to what me and Sheena seen that day, which she's seen multiple times, was the Patterson-Gimlin film. That was the only film that walked like what I seen. But the only difference between her, Patty, and the one I seen is he slumped over more, and he was bigger than her. This thing, when Bobo come out, we did a size comparison. Bobo's what, 6'4", 6'5". He's tall. And Cliff estimated by the size comparison split screen with my picture and where Bobo's standing to be 1.5 feet taller than Bobo. So this thing's 8.5, 9 foot tall. Yeah. He was massive. Massive.
Well, what kind of feelings did you get, Billy, when you finally laid eyes on him? I know you said it's something different when you see it walk away.
It was paranormal. It was paranormal. And the only way I can explain that is if you've ever, it felt like there was a static in the air. Like every hair on my body stood up. It was like it was static. It was the weirdest thing. And even she felt that static. And as it walked off, it got probably, the thicket's probably 7,500 yards from where I am, for where he's standing. And when he got over the hill out of sight where we couldn't see him, he went woo back at us. Craziest thing I've ever seen. And you could feel it. If you've ever been near a lion at a circus and you've heard him roar and you could feel the bass, we felt it. You could feel it. And I about killed myself getting out of that blind, getting off the hill. I was terrified.
So do you think that he was using infrasound? I'm sure you're familiar with that at this point, as much research as you've done.
It was almost paralyzing. If I could say, it was just it was a feeling I've never felt before, you know?
Yeah.
And like I tell him, when I seen him, that was like every feeling you could ever have at one time. And that little bit, you went from scared, excited, your adrenaline's pumping. You're just like, I mean, you're just, think about it. You're seeing something you never believed in. Up until that point, I did not believe in him. I had to see it myself, because even her telling me, I didn't believe her. I told her, I said, you're seeing bears.
So what has that done for your worldview?
I'd rather never see it again. I wish I'd never seen it. I wish I'd never seen it, because it's consumed me. That's all I think about. I cannot get it out of my head. I cannot. It's been a curse since I've seen it. Really has. I wish I'd never seen it.
Well, you know, that's understandable. I can imagine that would be all consuming. You know, the experience that I talked about up in the town hall meeting that we were there at together, mine was nowhere near as exhilarating as yours was. You know what I mean? I had like a class B, but actually come face to face like that, man, my goodness. It would probably be all consuming for me too.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, the print that I had a researcher come up here and he found a print that Cliff has the original, but he made me a mold. It's 17 inches by 10 inches wide. Yeah. And and if you look at the original picture where the food is, where I have that big pile of food, they found it right there. So he had come back, he had circled back with that food, and because he had a tracker with him. And she said because the deer had dug the ground up looking for the food that I'd been putting out, which I hadn't put none out, that's what soft enough to make an impression. He just happened to step in that one spot.
So the crew found
it wasn't me. It was a guy coming from up north, New York, somewhere near Canada, somewhere at that. And I gave him permission to come down here, and he come down and looked, and he found it.
Awesome. Well, I got some pictures here that we can let you describe to us. I got to figure out. I've been doing the share screen stuff. Let's see. Let me X out of this one. I was doing a little commercial plug. Can you see my screen right now?
I see you in the corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now here's a print that you sent me.
Yeah, that's the print.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess right here would be the toes.
Yeah, that's the big toe all the way down to the little toe. But the way that the print come out, we think that the little toe and the toe beside it, that area was broke because it kind of stuck out at the side like a break would be, like if it grew back together. So we think that one had an injury on the right foot.
And you can see how deep the heel impression is too.
Yeah, he was massive.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
Yeah.
Now, where was this at in like reference to your blind or your house, or?
You could 15 feet, 10 feet, somewhere there.
Wow.
Yeah, right in front of the blind.
Wow. And this is this a cast of that same track?
Yeah, that's when the WOY News here come up and did a story on it.
Okay. Yeah, you can see great toe impressions.
You can even see the toenails in some of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the one I saw in person, like when you brought this up to the town hall, That was incredible, man.
Yeah,
I
you can
love
see the
it.
toes. I've never seen one with toenails.
And this one, this is the one
Yeah, that's him standing in the tree looking right at me.
right here.
Yep. And you can
Let me
see
zoom in.
yeah, you can see the blonde under his eyes. See the blonde under his eyes? It goes all the way across under his eyes.
Yeah, here
Yeah,
and
yep.
there.
And then you see his cone head over top of it.
Yep.
And then you can see right there where you are is where his brow was. His brow, like right in there. That's his brow.
Yeah. You see a
That's
low brow.
Yep. I was looking, and that's his mouth underneath that kind of lit.
Yeah, you can see the mouth here, the big wide nose right here.
Yep. Yeah, and you see his arms out to the side. He's already turning. That's his arm. That's his forearm. He's already moving. And you can see his shoulder up above it. His shoulder right there. That's his shoulder cap.
That's his shoulder. Is this the other shoulder right here? Is it?
You know, I don't know. People think it is. People's asked me if that's what it is. I told them I don't know. Somebody even said on one of them Instagram, said it looks like a little one sitting on a stump beside there. If you see it, looking off to the side. See his leg?
Yeah, like right there.
Yep. The one's been up.
Yep.
But you don't know. But yeah, that's him. And you're only seeing from his quad, like the top of his quad up. I mean, he's taller than that. He's down over a berm a little bit. He's in some high grass because it's right, in fall, October. And
that's crazy.
He was massive. I can't even put it into words how big his thing was.
Yeah, I guess this is you're taking this from the blonde, right?
What's that?
You're taking this photo from the blonde, or is this off a trail cam?
That's from the blind.
Okay.
I'm gonna see.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna see here.
I'm gonna zoom in on this one more time.
All right, I'm gonna do it with the regular brown filter.
Okay.
Let me go back to where it was.
This would be the nose, eyes, mouth. Oh wait, everybody on YouTube will be able to see this. I wish there's a way to show it just through the podcast itself, but I guess if anybody's listening and they want to watch it or they want to see these photos, they can just come onto the YouTube channel.
I'm sending you two more to your phone.
Okay.
These are the original. The top one that's got a circle around it, it's not filtered. That's just your original picture. And then the one underneath it has more of a yellow filter, try to bring out the brown.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see when you look at them, when you get them.
Okay. Well, I'll pause the screen share for now, just while I get those emails come in or texts. Now, Billy, you were talking about something that I don't know if they're going to even put that on Finding Bigfoot or not, because I know they like to stick to the hominid or unidentified large ape kind of aspect. But you said something to me that and it was a big reason why I wanted to make sure I reached out to you. You were talking about the paranormal aspect. You're talking about lights. You were talking about burial mounds, Indian or mound builder mounds on the property. Would you feel comfortable going into all that stuff too?
Yeah. We actually we didn't come out with everything. We've got more stuff that happened. She's got a picture on her phone. We had I guess you call it a UFO. It had 5 glowing green bulbs and globes underneath it, and it hovered over our house all the way over to where the Bigfoot in that area where it was, and sat there for I bet an hour. It never moved, never made a sound.
Wow.
Nothing. And but yeah, the burial mounds, they're big here in Fayette County. The archaeologists, when I found them, I called because that's what I thought they were. And I sent pictures, and they come up, and mine is outlined in rocks, and it's got a long walkway going into it. And they said what that was is the mounds were sacred for their ceremonies or whatever. And the rocks around it was to keep the evil spirits out while they did their ceremonies. So you had to walk in. These rocks are lined all the way up and around these 3 mounds.
Wow.
So, yeah. And her grandparents, great-grandparents, her uncle, they're all full-blooded Cherokee. As a matter of fact, her uncle's name's Bear. He lives right up the road.
Really?
And, yeah, growing up, the great-grandmother and grandmother would not allow any of the kids to go near the wood line, and you wasn't allowed out near dusk or dawn, because anytime around that time, the big hairy man would get you. And she was raised that way from the Cherokees. The big hairy man will get you. Do not go near the tree lines. So what's that tell you?
Yeah, that tells you a lot, don't it?
Yeah, sure does. Yes, it does. Yep.
Man.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, when these archaeologists come out to the mounds, are they interested in researching that a little further? You know, with some GPR or something, and ground penetrating radar? Or?
I got a guy that's going to come up and we're going to do it.
Okay, awesome.
We're going to do it. He's set on it now, so it's going to happen.
I am just as interested in that kind of stuff as I am with Bigfoot, because, you know, there's a lot of history in West Virginia here about the mound builders and the connection with giants. You know, so
Moundsville has them.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
That's who I call.
Is it?
Yeah, Moundsville archaeologists in Moundsville.
Yeah, there's a couple in Kanawha County in Charleston, and they just don't make a big enough spectacle out of this, you know, a big enough deal out of it.
Right.
If this, you know, giant connection, that might shed some light on what Bigfoot is, if it's not something supernatural. You seeing the lights and the UFO and stuff in the same area, do you think that maybe they're interested in Sasquatch, or maybe that they're connected to Sasquatch?
I'm gonna show you. I had the artist drew this and sent it to me because we both had the same thing. Can you see it?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Got the UFO with a sting coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Showing the connection between them.
Yeah. So you think that's connected?
It could be. I mean, I'm still trying to get over the fact of seeing this thing. I still, and you got to think, I had that picture 5-6 months before I come out with it. I would, when I seen it, it was so surreal that I would sit on the computer hours and talk about it. She got tired of hearing it. She was like, listen, just come out with it. You ain't got nothing to lose. And I was like, you know what, I will. So I contacted Dave Seabray with West Virginia Explorer magazine. I contacted him. He did the story and it went viral. I mean, it took off everywhere.
Yeah, it absolutely did.
Yeah, it was, but like I said, I kept it. I'm not one that's out for trying to get money or anything like that. I just, you know, and the reason I didn't want to come out with it, it wasn't, when the story went viral on Facebook and everything, neighbors up here, I guess everybody found the story out. And I heard that thing he does, that sound, that woo, but he does it in threes. He does like a woo, woo, and there's a pause in between them. And I said that, and I made a mistake and said that when the news come out and did the story. I screwed up when I said that, because that night Sheena grabbed me. She's like, he's out here calling. And I come out, and on the third call, you hear pow, 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 people shooting in the woods.
Oh my gosh.
And that's why I didn't want to come out with it, because I not only just the fact of him, but somebody could be walking through the woods at the same time and get shot.
Yeah, no doubt.
So it caused a little hysteria for a while, you know. But that's why I didn't want to come out with it.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame you for that.
One of the reasons. And but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't get over it. I still haven't got over it.
Well,
I think okay. So we got this. Everybody should know what that is.
Oh yeah.
Bobo gave it to me.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I probably won't have this episode on YouTube until after they do the premiere, because I don't want to ruffle any feathers or whatever.
Right.
I was told it'll probably be before the end of the year, though. Okay. So if you want to talk about what all went on up there, or if you want to leave that for the show.
I just won't say a lot of names, but they come out and we did the meeting, you know, like when the show comes on, we did everything like the original show. You come out, they drive up, they meet me, I tell the story, take them up to the spot. But I have a buddy that lives across the way. He has a hunting trailer where they go hunting and stuff. And he leases 2,000 acres of land right down the road here, not even a quarter mile from my house. So while we were sitting here, they want to do the overnight and go out like, you know, like they do on the show. And he was like, I got 2,000 acres you aren't using. It's right down the road. We'll do it. So Cliff and them ran down with the producers and looked at it. It's like, yeah, that's a good spot. We'll do this. So we did the night thing. We got the cameras, and we had something pacing us as we were walking down the road. It was pacing us. And when we'd stop, it'd stop. We'd walk, it'd walk. We'd stop, it'd stop. We had, which you'll see when it comes out. We had stuff tossed at us. We had, when we got down to where it was a big water in the road, we had something growl at us. I've never heard it before. Nobody in the crew had ever heard that growl before. It was loud. It was evil. It was just, nobody's ever heard it. Bobo was like, what the hell was that? And he called for Cliff. He's like, something just growled at us. And of course, Cliff come hauling ass to get to us, but yeah, it growled. I've never heard it like nothing like that before in my life. And the producer even said, and this is word for word what he said that he's been doing this show for 12 years and he has never been that afraid. That's how bad it was. It was awful. It was crazy. It was crazy. And as we were leaving, Bobo was going to do his overnight thing. And as we're standing there, you hear it sound like a bunch of apes or something going crazy in the woods. Just, you could hear it just going crazy. And Cliff even thought somebody was messing with us. He was like, somebody's messing. They're messing with it. And my buddy was like, listen, there's one way in and one way out. And he said, think about it. Why would somebody mess with you? We didn't decide to come up here till 15 minutes ago.
Right.
I mean, we wasn't like it was planned. I just came up and offered it to you, So there's no way anybody could have been that far in the woods. No lights, no nothing. And make those sounds. It sounded like a bunch of, I don't know what it was together. It was just weird. It was a weird night. That's why they were so, as a matter of fact, when we were coming out of the woods, they had already started trying to listen to the cameras to see if we caught the ground. It was that crazy. I mean,
man, that's wild.
Yeah. Bobo was like, he was just, which I've talked to him a few times after that, he calls once in a while and talks, he don't want to be like, come up and film and just not ever talk to nobody again. He's not that kind of a good dude. Bobo's a real good guy. So it's Cliff. Cliff's a good guy too. I mean, but yeah, it was they got to experience some of the stuff that we've dealt with. And like I said, the other day, 2 nights ago, I was in here, I was probably 1 or 2 in the morning and she heard it. And I was on the computer and she's like, "Did you hear that?" And I turned it down. I was like, "No." She said, "Something big just growled at my window." And I said, "Really?" And so I get up and get my stuff and grab my phone and I'll walk out the door. And I was like, okay, I will go check on the dogs. So I started up the hill to check on my dogs and she heard it again. And when she heard it again, I had something running. Now it's pitch dark. I'm walking up the hill where I seen the Bigfoot. My dogs are over here. Something ran between us. And when I say run, this thing was freaking moving. And if you've ever heard a bird, like the wings of a bird, a big bird that you hear go, it was like his arms was rubbing as it was running. And it split me and the dog so fast, I couldn't even see what it was up in front of me. So, but the thing is whatever that was that ran, took the mommy cat and like 5 kittens, took all of them, killed them, took all of them with it. We don't know what it was, but it took all the kittens and stuff. So
do you think,
I don't know, but this place is crazy.
I think you're having people up there to check this stuff out, pissed them off or something?
Yeah, I went up to the ground blind yesterday just to check on everything. And there's 2 branches laying in the middle of my road, trail going up to the ground blind in an X crossing the road. I mean, the trail. And I took a picture of it and sent it to my wife. She's like, "See, you done pissed him off."
Yeah, that might be your warning, buddy. You might have to find a new hunting spot.
Well, I only go up there in the evenings. I would love to film him.
Yeah.
I go up there in the evenings and sit and listen, trying to catch it. I just never had that feeling. I mean, every day I'm up there, if you've ever been in the woods and it was eerie quiet, if something didn't seem right, there's a good possibility you was around one.
Yeah.
You'll know.
It's interesting you said that because the same year before I had the little interaction that I had in that same hunting spot, I've been up there probably 20, 25 times. But earlier in that year, there was a couple times where I couldn't make myself get out of my truck until the sun came up.
Yep.
I'd be there an hour before daylight. I had, if I was squirrel hunting, I had my shotgun. If I was deer hunting, I had my bow.
Right.
And I just could not make myself get out of the truck. And that it didn't make sense to me. I just felt like I had to wait until I could see better. So I know what you're talking about.
Humans. It's a sense we have. There was an alpha something there.
Yeah.
Bigger than you. That's all I can say.
And that's bigger than I want to mess with.
Yeah. And I've had that happen a few times growing up through the woods. Something didn't seem right and freak out, and but now, I went from not believing to being a knower.
Yeah.
Not a believer or anything. I know her. I know what I seen. Nobody can tell me what I see. Nobody can tell me what I didn't see.
Right.
I watched this thing walk off. My wife was sitting with me. She watched this thing walk off. And people I've heard, it was a bear. I said, listen, dude, she killed a 600-pound bear, and this bear nowhere near the size of this thing. It wasn't even compared. I mean, and to see how wide his back was, I mean, it was just, and to go from standing straight up to where he turned, he kind of slumped. It was just, it didn't even seem real. I mean, it didn't. I don't know what, I can't even put it into words because people tell me put it. I don't know how to put it into words.
Yeah.
I just know it's consumed my life. I wish I'd have never seen it.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have been skeptic or been, whatever, non-believer instead of seeing it, because it has. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I mean,
yeah.
I can just tell you what I seen, and I tell them, I said, I'm not saying it's a Bigfoot. I'm gonna tell you it looks like what they say a Bigfoot is. I'm not saying it's a Bigfoot. I'm just gonna tell you what it is. If you could take a giant silverback gorilla, more facial hair, not so much the skin, but put blonde under its eyes, kind of more of a human-like nose, not so flat, kind of human-like, and same big cone head, all that. But if you could give it more of a human anatomy, stretch his torso and his legs out just a little bit. Leave the arms, because arms are proportionate to what I seen, kind of long and muscular. But just give it longer legs and a longer torso. And that's what it looked like to me.
Wow. Well, okay, just your opinion, because you can't be wrong, because nobody knows.
Right.
Do you think this is well, it's obviously got a physical presence because it's leaving impressions, it's eating food, it's growling. Do you think there is more to it than just a physical being? Do you, with the relation with the lights and stuff? Because I used to think that this was just Gigantopithecus,
That's what that's the closest thing to it.
I just thought I thought that was it, open and shut. But the more episodes that I've listened to and done and have, listened to podcasts over the years, there seems to be a connection with something more supernatural than that. And I know a lot of people don't want to go into the woo side of things, but I'm not afraid to go into the woo side of things. I like to think about it.
Oh, you want me to tell you what I think? Here's what I think that the reason people, the true people, not the ones that hoax, people that legitimately stand behind what they seen. Matt Moneymaker's a perfect one. He's seen one. Bobo has seen one. We know what we've seen. But when you take a picture, that's why I said it was like it was paranormal. It was just weird. It was like there was static in the air. Like if you take a balloon and rub your hair with it, how it pulls your hair up, that's what it felt like. And I think that feeling that I had when he walked off, even when I took the picture, I seen him clear them. The phone took the picture. The picture still got caught good, his, anatomy and stuff. I mean, it showed what he looked like, but it wasn't as clear as what it should have been. So I think that static, I think they put out I don't know. I think that's why all pictures are distorted. It's like it almost like it jams the phone or jams the camera, or I don't know. But that's that feeling. Right. I think that's what it was, because that we had that feeling, and I can't explain. I've never felt it before. Probably never felt it again. But it was like just everything stood up on our body as he walked off. It was just crazy. It was a crazy experience.
Well, maybe they operate at a different frequency than we do. Maybe they're at a higher or a lower frequency maybe that would even explain how some people say they cloak and stuff, that they just kind of phase out of our perception. I don't know, man. I don't know if they're interdimensional or what.
Well, this is something I should have added too, but I always go up and throw food out at 4, no later than 4:30. I'm up on the hill and gone. 3, 4, nothing after 4:30. Let the scent die down so the deer will come in and eat. Every day, like religiously. I did it every single day. Made sure the food was up, or I was off the hill at 4:30. That day we took the picture was 4:29. So we didn't hear him come in. So we think he was standing behind that big tree waiting on us to leave. And we got in the blind instead of walking off, and we tricked him, because when he stepped out, he stopped. As soon as he stepped out, he seen us, he stopped and looked right at us. And I don't think I don't think he seen that we were in the ground blind at that point, because he just stood and looked at us. And I grabbed my cell phone from the middle, because what I do is I document my deer as they grow. I'll take pictures of them as they come by,
Oh yeah.
And it was, as I pulled the phone up, I didn't even get it all the way when he started to turn. So I took a hip shot. I kind of just pulled it up to the side and just aimed it that way and snapped it, and actually got lucky and caught him on the top left corner of the picture. Yeah. So I'm not zoomed in on him. I'm taking a picture, kind of trying to hurry and catch him before he turns around.
Right.
And just happened to catch him in that top left corner with that phone. And I only had a little LG phone. So
Right. Yeah,
but
of course. Yeah.
I got one now. It's got 4 cameras. So
Yeah.
I can zoom in at 60 yards and see a bug on a leaf. So
There
if
you
I see
go.
him again, I'll be able to get a good video or something of him. And
That'd
people are like, why didn't you video? Why didn't you video? Dude, I didn't even believe in him. And who the
Right.
hell thinks they're going to walk up on a Bigfoot? Who thinks a Bigfoot's going to walk up to him in a ground blind?
Right. Well,
Nobody. That's why nobody gets good pictures and stuff.
right.
Because when you see him, it's just a spur of the moment thing. You're trying to hurry and grab something, trying to, so.
Yeah, I guarantee it. That's what, it's just like so many people, they might be concealed carry, but they still get mugged because they forget the gun's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just,
Well, another thing too, people say, like, why have we never found none in the woods? Why have we never found this? All right. As a hunter, how many bears have you found dead in the woods?
right.
How
None.
many bobcats have you seen in the woods? And if you did see them, it was by chance. And you're one of the very few people to ever do it. So
Yeah.
these people like me and my wife come out with these pictures and stuff. We're one of them very rare few
Yeah.
that caught it. I've never found a dead bear in the woods. So
Right.
if you're going into their territory and they've been here longer than us, it's documented. They've been back here a long time before we even got here.
Right.
So you're going into their world.
Yes.
They've done, that's just it. You're going into their world. You ain't gonna trick them.
Right.
They probably bury them like we do.
And on top of
To
that,
be honest, them 3 burials up there, them 3 mounds could be 3 of them. Him just coming back and checking on them. I mean,
man,
I don't know.
could you imagine? Could
I
you
could
imagine that would, man, Billy, that would be so
Kind of
cool.
skeleton. Oh
Yes.
wow.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be a game changer. That would do it. That would be the confirmation,
Yeah.
the proof that the world needs, man.
But she's seen it here 3 times here, and then Babcock State Park, she's seen one walking the power lines, which is what they say they use as a directional.
Yeah.
She's seen it in the middle of the power line standing up one day. And she went down and had her mom turn around, actually fought with her to turn around. She's like, I seen Bigfoot, made her go back up, but it was gone when they got back. But she seen it standing up and walking in the power lines.
Yeah.
And she was young, like 14, 15.
Man.
And then she had sheets hanging on a clothesline back here. She was 14 at that time, and she went out to get him. It was right at dark. So she goes out and she got the basket on her hip. She's walking out to the thing, and she looks up. She said, I noticed there was a set of coveralls at the end of the clothesline. And she said they were too big for my dad's because her dad's tall and skinny. And she was like, so I don't know who's they be. She said she turned around, went back in the house, asked her mom. So her mom said, no, just get them. We'll see whose they are, So she walked out, and she said, as she turned the corner of the house and started walking, she got about 20 feet from the clothesline. It stood up. It was leaned over which the clothesline would have been, I'm 5'9", it's about 6 foot tall. So this thing was leaned over on the edge of it, and it stood up. And she said when it stood up, it ran across the neighbor's property and up to where I got the picture, same area. So this is stories told to me before I got the picture. You know what I mean? So, and I'm telling you, you are out of your mind. You are crazy. And I told her for years. I told her for years that she was absolutely out of her mind. There's no Bigfoots. There's no such thing as a Bigfoot. I'm telling you. And she proved me wrong.
Yeah, you can't deny it now, buddy.
No, I seen it. I seen it. It wasn't a bear. A bear, there's no way. It was too much like us. It was like a cross between a silverback gorilla and a giant human. So if you could take a silverback gorilla, put it on a giant, with the proportions of a gorilla with the longer arms and stuff, that's exactly what he looked like. The big cone head.
Man.
Yeah. And he didn't have the protruding brow as bad as like the gorillas. They kind of come out.
Right.
It was more of a flat, like kind of flat on the face. But I think he had a lot of hair, so he could have had one. It just the hair was so thick.
How long was its hair? Could you tell? Was it like,
well, when he walked, it probably hung about that far off his arm, a couple inches off his arm.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the face like most people. You know what I mean? Like they put them out like where you can see their eyes and their nose and stuff. His was all hair. I could just see his eyes. I could see his nose sticking out a little bit, and I could see where his mouth area was. All hair. The only reason I knew where his eyes were is because of the blonde. That's what.
Well, maybe their coat thickens up in the fall and the wintertime.
They do.
I mean, that's what I would imagine. I think that's why people say that their hair looks a little sparse. They're probably seeing it in the summertime when they've shed down where they can not overheat or whatever, just like any other animal.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. He's the real deal.
That's awesome.
He's
That's
the real
interesting. Deal. Yeah. Well, Billy, I'm glad you shared that with me. Do you have a YouTube or Instagram or anything like that that you want to share with the show so people can go and look at your content?
Hollywood ZX14R. So
Hollywood ZX14R.
ZX14R. And
Okay, is that for motocross or something?
No, I street race bikes.
Oh, nice.
Motorcycles. And
Nice.
the YouTube channel is ZX4 space Busa, BUSA space Killer.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my
Nice.
competitors, the Hayabusa. Kawasaki boy. But
Well, awesome, man. Hopefully everybody goes and checks out your skills.
yeah, I got a bunch of pictures on the Bigfoot. I got pictures after showing where he was standing to show that there's nothing there. So you can go in there and look at all of the footprints. We found more footprints going up the hill in the grass. One morning we looked and the strides were probably 5 foot strides. I mean, there was nothing, and they were big feet. They were big. And I got pictures of them on Instagram I put up.
Sounds like you have a family of them up there at least. I mean,
I do.
You're hearing all that chatter everywhere and you're finding different size prints and stuff.
Yeah, and prior to getting the picture, I heard like a bear's death moan. It's the only way I could compare it to was like a bear dying.
Yeah.
This is a week, 2 weeks throughout the, every couple of days I'd hear that sound down in that thicket where he walked to. And it was weird because it was almost identical to the sound he made when he walked off. And I think that he realized I was up there hunting at that time, that we were there. And he was calling up there like he was aggravated, or he was calling to them. Bobo thinks he was calling to them to let them know that there's somebody there.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like he was communicating with the other ones.
Yeah.
But
that makes sense.
And then that one day we just tricked him. We just went up and threw it and he thought we left. 4:29 on the dot. I'll show you the details on the picture.
Yeah. Shot of a lifetime, man.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Got lucky.
Absolutely. Well, Billy, I appreciate you coming on. I know you're probably pretty busy. I got a lot of stuff going on right now too, but man, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And I'm sorry it took us so long to get lined up together, but it's been a great episode. It's been a great talking to you again. And I want you to keep in touch with me. All right, man?
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, brother.
All right, brother.
Have a good one.
You too.